Here's how you can connect your Airtable to your n8n workflow. So I have a very basic n8n workflow set up right here, where we have the click to execute workflow and then an Airtable node. If you want to add an Airtable node, you can just click the plus button and then search for Airtable. And we chose the create record node, but you can choose any Airtable node for this tutorial. And what we want to do is create a credential so that way we can connect our Airtable to our workflow. So to do that, we have to go under the credentials to connect with. We have to select the credential and then click on where it says create new credential. This is going to open up this window right here. And what it wants us to use is either an access token or OAuth 2. For this tutorial, we're just going to use the access token. So to get this access token, what you need to do is head over to Airtable, and you want to go to airtable.com/create/tokens. I'll have a link in the description down below so you can go ahead and easily access it. And that should bring you to this page right here, which is going to list all of your personal access tokens for Airtable. This is going to allow you to connect the Airtable database that you have on your Airtable account to your n8n workflow via these secret tokens. So what we need to do is create a new token on the top right here. And at the top, we can see that personal access tokens are required to use the Airtable API. So we got to go ahead and create a name for this token. I'm just going to call this n8n tutorial. You can call this token whatever you want. And the second step to this token is we need to add a scope. And you can kind of think of scopes kind of like permissions. You're giving permission to the API to access certain things. So if we click on where it says add a scope, the first scope that we want to add is data.records_read. This is going to let the API be able to read the items in your Airtable. Then we want to add another scope, and we want to search for data.records:write. And this is going to let us actually write to the database. So we can insert records, we can edit records that are already existing in the database. So we have the read permission and the write permission. And the last permission that we want to add, or the last scope, would be our schema. So we want to give them access to our schema basis read. And this is going to let the API be able to read the schema of the database. So like all of the columns or the fields in your table. And finally, we need to actually add in our Airtable base to the API to give it access to that specific base. So if we click on where it says add a base, you want to select the table or the base that you want to give specific access to this API. So for me, I'm just going to give it access to my YouTube base, which is this YouTube Airtable that I have set up right here. And you can choose to add multiple bases if you want. I'm just going to use one workspace for now. And we're going to go ahead and click on where it says create token. So now that we can see our token has been created, you want to make sure that you store this token somewhere secure and that you don't share this token with anybody, because anybody that has access to this token will be able to read and write to your Airtable. And you definitely don't want that to be public, else anyone can mess with your Airtable. So go ahead and copy it and then store it somewhere secure. Then click on where it says done. Now we can see that our token is now listed under our personal access tokens, which means we can go ahead and go back to our n8n workflow. And under that access token section here, we can go ahead and paste that token that we just copied right into the input field like so. And then we can go ahead and click on where it says save at the top right. You can see now that the credential has been successfully created. So now we can actually go ahead and exit out of this. And we can go ahead and actually just test this out just to make sure that it works. So under the resource, we're going to select record because we want to select these two records here. Under the operation, we're going to click on the search operation. So this is going to search for all the records in this specific table. Under the base section, we're going to choose our YouTube base, which is this base right here. For the table, we're going to choose the videos table, which is the name of this specific table in my Airtable base. You can add a custom formula if you want. That gets into a little bit more complex stuff, so we might cover that in a different video. I'm going to keep the return all set to true. And then we're going to go ahead and click on execute step on the top right. And if everything worked, we should now see that in the output, we have this green check mark here, and we have those two records that we had in our Airtable. So I had John and Bob, and we can see that listed over here in these two records. Now, it also does give us the ID for each record. So that's really useful if you need to target a specific record in your database. And it also shows us the time that that record was created as well. So we can go ahead and now use all of these items that we got from our Airtable database, and we can now use them in our n8n workflow. So if you found this video useful, please leave a like. Also, if you're interested, I have a community in the description down below, in which case I help out our community members with various n8n automations and workflows, as well as offer a bunch of templates, including the templates that I use in my videos. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and check it out in the description down below. But that's going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope this helped you out.